All right, so here I am, live. Can you guys hear me? I feel like no, I feel like there's a problem with my live stream. There's some kind of buffering, skipping, something, anything. Is there like a buffering going on, or tell ya, it's like wicked pissing me off because yeah, like that shouldn't have even. Mhm. All right, can you guys hear me? Yes, maybe it's working now. That would be great if it is. Okay, good. Yeah, there was definitely something going on there for a minute or two. But yeah, I find it weird that Sharon says she's uh what do you call it? Struck for a week. Um because she was saying that Bobbles bought her subs. I mean, they've both been saying that I bought subs, which I didn't. I'm ready to start burping the alphabet. I have hiccups or something going on. I'm ready to start burping the alphabet. Welcome, Tina and Luna. Actually, I know last night I was like trying to read Dune, but that was like very difficult. Not difficult to read, but I mean they got a lot of but this book is called Unfuck Yourself. That's what I was thinking too, Luna. That's absolutely what I was thinking too. This book is called Unfuck Yourself. Okay. I thought I would read a couple of pages and see what people thought. Okay. Just a couple of. Have you ever felt like a hamster on a wheel, furiously churning your way through life, but somehow going nowhere? All the while, you're caught in a loop of constant internal chatter and judgment that never stops, which I do know how that feels. I mean, man, just seems like, yeah, a little voice telling you that you're lazy or stupid or not good enough. You won't even notice the degree to which you believe it or are drained by it. You'll just be spending your day working to overcome the stresses and strains, trying to live your life, and at various points, facing the resignation that if you can't get your ass off this damned wheel, maybe you are never going to get to where you want in life. Maybe that happiness you're after, or that weight you want to lose, or that career or relationship you crave will remain just out of reach. These pages are dedicated to those who experience that self defeating monologue. Like we're standing in our own way sometimes, right? That's how it feels. like standing in our own way. The endless stream of doubt and subterfuge that limits and taints everyday life. This is a conversational slap from the universe to wake you up to your true potential, to unfuck yourself and get spectacularly into your life. Let's get this thing started in the right place. There are two kinds of talk you engage in every day: talking to others and talking to yourself. That's true. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I find myself quite enjoying talking to myself. I make myself laugh hysterically sometimes. I'm just saying, sometimes I even talk like in a different voice, like for my dog, and he's pretty funny. um, you might be one of those who insist I don't talk to myself. But in fact, most of the conversations you have on any given day are with yourself, all enjoyed in the solitude and privacy of your own head. Whether you're introverted or extroverted, creative or practical, you spend huge swaths of your time talking to you. Right, Luna? I mean, just today, Roscoe was insisting he is a good dancer. You do it while exercising, working, eating, reading, writing, walking, texting, crying, arguing, negotiating, planning, praying, meditating, having sex on your own and with others. You name it. And yes, you even do it in your sleep. You're actually doing it right now. Don't worry, it doesn't mean you're crazy, or perhaps it means we're all a little crazy. Either way, we all do it. Talk to ourselves, right? So settle in and welcome to the Freak Show. Studies show that we have over 50,000 thoughts per day. Right, exactly. Right, Luna? Yeah, 50,000 thoughts per day. Think of all the things you say to yourself that you'd rather not, or that you try to overcome or defeat. While we have a little or no say in those automatic and reactionary thoughts, we have a massive say in which of those same thoughts we attach significance to. They don't come preloaded. The latest in neuroscience and psychology adds weight to the idea that the kind of talk you engage in has a profound impact on the quality of your life. This professor in the University of Alabama conducted 4 experiments in which participants either recalled or experienced a positive, negative, or neutral event. They found that people who described the neutral event in ways that suggested it was ongoing actually felt more positive, and when they described a negative event in the same way, they experienced more negativity, which I'm not sure what they mean by that. In simple terms, the language you use to describe your circumstances determines how you see, experience, and participate in them. That makes sense. The language that you use to describe your own circumstances determines how we see, experience, and participate in them, and dramatically affects how we deal with our life and confront problems, both big and small. So basically, it's all in how we see it and how we describe it to ourselves. Like we can describe it, you know? The connection between what we say and how we feel has been known for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Philosophers all knew the importance and significance of language in our lives. The harmony between thought and reality can be found in the grammar of the language. It's true. It's true. The good news is studies have continually found that positive self talk can dramatically improve mood, boost confidence, increase productivity, and more, much more. Right? I think that is true. I hope that people rewatch this and um, gain something out of this because I think it sounds pretty good that we have the power to describe our situations. In fact, as evidenced by Professor Hart and his studies, it can be one of the key components to a happy, successful life. The bad news is the reverse is also true. I mean, that seems like throughout history, we have kind of known ourselves that positive encouragement and reinforcement works in children and in our, towards other people. So why wouldn't it work towards ourselves, right? Negative self talk can not only put us in a bad mood, it can leave us feeling helpless. It can make small problems seem bigger and even create problems where none existed before. Here's the breaking news: your self talk is fucking you over, and in ways you can't even begin to imagine. I think that's true, right? Yeah. With all of this in mind, let's get one thing clear. Even though this is a book about using the right language to improve your life, I'm not suggesting that you suddenly take on positive thinking or positive personal affirmations. Those subjects have been done to death with varying degrees of success and are certainly not what we'll be doing here. I won't ask yourself to tell yourself you're a tiger as a way to unleash your inner animal. Firstly, you're not a tiger, and secondly, well, you're not a tiger. This all may work for some people, but to me, being told to do these sort of things feels like being force fed a bucket of maple syrup, liberally sprinkled with last year's candy canes. Thanks, but no thanks. It does sometimes feel like that, right? When people tell you, oh, you know, um, I don't know, like, I mean, it is hard to think positive all the time. It really is. It's really difficult. Mm. For all my positives out there, we're taking this in another direction. This is designed to give you an authentic leg up, one that feels genuine and right for you and can propel you into greater levels of your true potential. Now it's funny because if I if I notice like a lot of people when there's drama and there's negative talk, there's more of an audience for that, but it doesn't seem like that's conducive in um, relieving stress off people. I mean, nobody's perfect, nobody's perfect, but encouraging yourself and others is probably the best way to be, in my opinion. The difference between success and failure. If human emotions largely result from thinking, then one may appreciably control one's feelings by controlling one's thoughts. or by changing the internalized sentences or self talk with which one largely created the feeling in the first place. Right? Isn't it hard to believe, Luna? It is. Like I used to see those posters that they would have saying hang in there, and if you can dream it, you can be it, or this and that, and it always seems too hard. It's so hard. It's especially when there's a lot of people out there that want to bring people down. Maybe they haven't achieved positive reinforcement within themselves yet. And I'm not saying that I have either. Yeah, I'm just saying that it might be something that we all want to give a try, maybe. Albert Ellis, a forefather of modern psychology, found that how we think and talk about our experiences shift the way we feel about them. Like if you have somebody in your life that you've lost, right? They've, passed away. You might, feel angry that they passed away, or maybe they, passed away too soon or something, and only remember the fact that they're gone. But if you can remind yourself that they were here for you and the things that the times that you spent with them. And when somebody who loses somebody, people will say, um right, it becomes a habit and has something. But if you can have the positive self-talk and start keeping track of good results, right, if you actually literally consciously keep track of how you feel about things. I mean, I know I'm learning with you guys. I'm reading with you guys and learning and hoping to create a better outcome for myself. I'm like basically thinking out loud, reading out loud, not thinking it, reading out loud. And, um, when somebody goes, oh, I'm sorry for your loss, I always want to say, I'm happy for your gain. That people have had that person in their life and can talk about them and remember them fondly and stuff. Maybe if we stop thinking of them as losses and think of them as gains, or, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud, talking out loud with my friends here, you guys. Mhm. Um, Alice found that how we think and talk about our experiences shifts the way we feel about them. In short, our thoughts are bedfellows with our emotions. He also found that the way we think can also be completely irrational. Consider how many times you've told yourself something like, I'm so stupid. I always mess things up. My life is over. Or some negative description of an event like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Raise your hand if you've ever completely overreacted to something that in hindsight barely registered on the important meter. If you look back, you'll see that in the instant before that seemingly random overreaction, You had a flash of outrageous self talk. Bang, and off you go with your good self. When my brother lost his son, he told me one thing I will never forget. He said he had to stop thinking about what he lost, but rather what he learned from it. He said, thinking of the lost only made him mad. But once he started seeing what he had learned, he was able to keep on living, turning his pain into strength. Right. And I mean, the loss of a child must be one of the hardest things to try to think of something to keep you going. The loss of a child, I can't even say that I could be as strong as your brother, Luna. I can't even say I'd be able to do that. Um, so right there, that's huge. That's a huge role model for anyone, you know, to be able to think of what he learned from that experience and to embrace it, which is so hard, I'm sure, to not think, oh, what did I do wrong? The coulda, woulda, shoulda, but there's got to be something to how we see things. Some of the things we say and do aren't always particularly rational, but we seem to say and do them anyway. In addition, we never really see what we are leaving ourselves with or the emotional residue of engaging in even the mildest of negative self talk. You see, it's not always dramatic self talk. Sometimes it's subtle, but equally disempowering. If you're working on, see, and that right there is right there. See, Tina says, wow, that's powerful how your brother chose to look at it. If he chose to look at it a different way, it would be as equally disempowering. Right. Someone like your brother or your nephew. I know, and it's so hard to think of things that are so sorrowful to be. I don't even know, like, um, if you're working on something, you might think this is so hard. What if I don't finish in time? Or worry about all the different things and the ways you can mess up, which leaves you in an anxious, worried state. Right, Luna. But on the flip side, you must have to maintain the same feeling that they're maintaining in order to handle it the best way they can. So you're having to maintain understanding what they're saying and not saying, but I'm so mad. Why aren't you mad too? Because they're probably deep inside very mad. It's called unfuck yourself. Get out of your head and into your life. Sometimes negative self talk leads to anger, sadness, or frustration that manifests in different or seemingly unrelated situations. This kind of self talk doesn't make your life any easier. The more you tell yourself how hard something is, the harder it will actually seem. Unfortunately, since we are constantly listening to a steady stream of our automatic inner thoughts and have become so accustomed to the critical voice in our heads, we often don't realize how negative thoughts impact our mood and behavior in any given moment. And as a result, we end up doing or not doing things our rational minds want us to do. For a simple example, take a moment to think about the daily chores you dread the most, all because you've built them up in your mind to be something worse than they really are, kind of like standing in our own way. We sometimes avoid simple things like folding laundry and unloading the dishwasher when they actually take little time and effort. With enough of these little persistent items hanging around, it's easy to collapse them in with the bigger, more important things until we find ourselves overwhelmed or exhausted by life. I remember a friend of mine one time telling me sometimes people make their expectations of themselves so huge. Maybe if we start out with something small like doing our laundry. So you do your laundry that day on your list, and at least you got one thing done. Like start small and, get, I don't know, what is it? Think globally, start locally. Why do we resist certain things in our life? We have a personal conversation about those kind of tasks that is firmly rooted in some negative opinion. Look in your own life for your stuckness, and you'll see what I mean. You have a pretty serious self talk blockage, standing in our own way. The way we talk doesn't only affect us in the moment, it can seep into our subconscious and become internalized, changing our thoughts and behavior in the long term. In real everyday terms, the way we talk to ourselves and others instantly shapes how we perceive life. That's true. And that same perception directly impacts our behavior right there in the moment. Ignore your perceptions at your peril. Even worse, live with the illusion that you don't have perceptions. If you're sometimes talking about how unfair life is, you'll start to act according to that view, perceiving slights where none exist. Now, that's interesting. That's really interesting to me because I find myself thinking how unfair life is. So, I mean, if I lose my keys, I'm like, oh my God, see? Or if something small happens, it becomes just one more thing that happens to me that's unfair in life. Studies have shown putting less effort into your work because you've already determined it won't accomplish anything. I see people who do that too. Like, why bother? It's not gonna make a difference, why bother? The unfair view will quickly become your reality. On the other hand, the person who views success as if it were just around the corner will not only work his butt off to achieve it, but be energized and alive to it, and all the while acting on that fundamental view of success. To be clear, believing you will be successful is only one, albeit important, part of success. By the same token, there is a way to accomplish great things without that belief, although the ride will be a bit rougher. If you're worried that you don't have that kind of personal belief, read on. Oh, you got it? Awesome, Luna. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher turned Roman emperor, said, "Here is a rule to remember in the future. When anything tempts you to feel bitter, not. This is misfortune, but to bear this worthily is good fortune." And it's entirely within our power to determine how we think about and talk about our problems. That is true. That's why a lot of times I didn't want to like say out that, about cancer or things like that. And when they'll say, oh, why can't you, and they'll go cancer, and they'll do this, they'll do that. And they won't seem to understand that I, as trying to use the power of positive thinking, you know, I'm aware that they are the ones who are consistently speaking about my situation. It gets me so angry to know that they're trying to steal my peace, my power of wanting to think, or even when they talk about my daughter, they want to steal my thought that I did something good there. And, you get somebody like What's Up who wants to sit there and talk about my daughter like she's a whore, or Sharon who wants to act like me and my deceased sister had oral sex with each other. Here's the thing. I'm never going to feel that way. I wish they would focus on their own situations in life and stop wasting their energy on trying to make me believe and accept the things that they say, and then think I'm going to start thinking negatively about myself. It's not going to happen because I've spent many, many years trying to analyze and understand and rationalize why things have happened in life, just like anybody else. You lose somebody you love, you gotta understand, you gotta figure out, okay, why does God hate me? Why would that wonderful person have to die? Why? I've spent a lot of time in life, just like anybody else, I don't even know if they feel better about their miserable selves. I don't even know if they know they're miserable. Some of them, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Um, I really, I can't even, I'll never be able to comprehend some of their behaviors, other than the fact that as a logical person with common sense and a moral compass, maybe they just don't have that in them. I can't make them be the person they that I think they should be. You know, maybe for them, the positive talk that they say to themselves is, yay, good, I made that person feel this way. Maybe for them, that's what they think is success. Maybe their level of success is totally different than what we think is being a successful, decent human being. Some people are validated by things totally different than what we are validated by. When people say, oh, treat people like you want to be treated, true, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee that they're going to treat us the same way, because maybe they want to be treated a different way. I can't think for them anymore, and I can't rationalize the way why they do things. I can only keep keeping on, you know? I mean, I'm not going to dump anything on them to make their lives harder, but I will, report when necessary and hope for a response, hope for a little bit of justice from it. You take the time to report what you think is wrong. It is, um, disappointing when you're reporting to like people who are capable of running multi-billion-dollar companies such as YouTube and other social media platforms, and they don't have the common sense to know that someone implying that this person has sex with their dog is bad behavior and insulting. And they're running a multi-million dollar company, a multi-billion dollar. Exactly. So that kind of talk, all of that. Uh, I mean, if people who are running a multi-billion-dollar company don't have the wherewithal to say, "Hey, wait a minute, this is bad talk about anybody's family members. This woman spread eagle with a snack pack of Jif peanut butter on her vagina, um, implying bestiality is bad behavior," then I don't know. Maybe next we need to point out, hey, who raised you motherfuckers who are running this multi-billion-dollar company that, you know, we expect a level of decency from. If they can't provide that, then perhaps they bit off more than they can chew. Um, no, really, you two. If you can't provide a level of decency, if you know when somebody is saying words like vaccination or ooicide or ape, which is, you know what I mean, right? You can find those words, but you can't see when somebody is implying that somebody's child is a whore, or some woman is screaming that she's going to off herself while one laughs hysterically and people type in the room, don't use pills, use a gun, is bad behavior, then perhaps you shouldn't have the position that you have. CEO, CFO, whoever the fuck you are, perhaps you've bit off more than you can chew. Because if I know and can recognize what bad behavior is, but you're blinded by cash, money, grain, there's an issue with that. I've got an issue with that, as I'm sure many, many, many other people do. And I'm not willing to believe that everybody in the world is okay with the behavior. They're not, you know? Right. They want to talk about, well, and let's be honest too. I mean, same with Bottles. I mean, she's not no real success fucking story either. Neither is Vern. Neither is Bobby Ramos. Neither is Tiffany M. And they want to all sit there and talk about karma. And they might want to take a look at their own fucking situations and see what karma has brought them. What has karma brought them? They want to talk about karma for people? Seriously? Take a look at your own lives and you tell me, do they think they are successes? That karma has gifted them with something wonderful? Yeah, see, I feel that karma has gifted me with wonderful things. I'm alive. I have a great daughter. I have great friends who love me, and I got chutzpah. I got balls, and I'm fine. It's them that need to worry about what karma they're already sitting in, their own situations. They are not in any position to wish bad karma on people. But here's the difference. Here's the difference. That maybe their talk inside their heads, maybe Sharon isn't calling herself a loser. Maybe she set her expectations for herself so low that she feels, wow, I have surpassed any expectation I've ever had for myself. But at the same sense, yes, she is. She is a loser. But if in her mind she's a winner, then she's a winner. See the difference? You know, maybe like her definition of being a winner is much lower than others. And so she achieves it easier. I mean, I really don't know. I can't. But I'll tell you what is wrong is when you get a group of people who want to continuously verbally abuse others to make people who think, hey, I'm okay with my life, think that it's not okay. No, you're worthless. You're worthless. You're worthless. because our queen bee here thinks being an addict for 28 years and a liar is a-okay because they're validated by whatever lie they can fucking get away with. She sat there putting down Maddie and her going to rehab thing, and saying, oh, and she's pulling this fraud trying to get money, saying she's going to rehab. Totally like of, uh, I mean, ignorant, I don't know, avoiding the fact that, yeah, that's what you've done, Sharon. Now, here's the thing. See, I wouldn't even say anything like that. Hi, Paranormal. I wouldn't even say anything like that if this bitch didn't continue to sit there and think she's got the right to do that shit. She doesn't. Mm, she doesn't. You know, babbling with Bobbles, who and Sharon, both who wanted to lie and say, I got subs bought for me. It's illegal to buy subs. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, and even if they do get a job, say, Sharon did get a job, or say that Maddie got a job, or that anybody, you get one little tiny fucking snippet of information, like maybe you're wearing your shirt and it's got the name of it on it, or anything at all. These losers with no jobs want to get other people fired from their job. Not even thinking to themselves that, who the fuck am I to get somebody fired from their fucking job? You know? Like, who the fuck am I to make somebody's life more difficult when we are our own worst enemies? I mean, we probably beat ourselves up more than anybody could. You know? I'm not here to make fucking Sharon's life a fucking, you know, cakewalk. But who the fuck does she think she is? Talking about anybody else. Same with Bobbles. They both fucking accuse me of buying subs, which is very, very untrue. Um, while they both do, in my opinion, allegedly. And yet, they're both the people who sit there saying people need thicker skins to do this and do that and blah, 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 blah. And yet, as far as I've seen, Bobbles is the one who consistently runs and reports. Sharon, Bobbles does. She'll run, she'll say whatever she wants, but she will run and report. You know? Now here's a concept maybe neither of them have tried. Have they ever thought about just trying to be decent people? Well, we should have all been reporting Bobbles when she was saying my breast implant exploded, and that I was an alcoholic. There's a lot of people I think should be getting reported. Um, have they ever thought for a moment, like what would possess Bobbles to call Sharon? You know what I mean? And say she was gonna kill her. What would possess Bobbles to do that? And why wouldn't she know that Sharon was gonna make a video of it when Sharon had just done the same thing with Maddie? There's times I have to wonder if they don't all know what they're doing and they're not in on it together for clicks and views. Because it seems ridiculous. That's ridiculous behavior. You know, that's ridiculous. Like, Bobbles isn't that stupid that she doesn't know that doing that. And I find it hard to believe that after everything these two fucking idiots have done, that Sharon's going to get struck for saying that Bobbles bought her subs, even though Bobbles and Sharon both have accused me of buying subs, and that is not true. And they've both done grosser things and not been struck. And yet Sharon got struck and yet was able to post on her community page. That doesn't make sense to me. She posted on her community page after she was struck and telling us she can't post on her community page anymore. Hit the buttons. Hit what buttons? What buttons did you hit? What did you do? I kicked me out. Are you kidding? Unbelievable. Unfucking real. When you're more awake, I'll remind you. I mean, you do realize now that every single comment that Luna made is gone. And it looks like I'm talking to myself. So when you're more awake, I'll remind you. I don't even know how that happens. I've never done that ever. I don't even know how that happens. I'm not even trying to. I get you. Luna, hopefully you know that it was by accident. Morning, Cassidy. Maybe that's why people mod everyone, you know? So that doesn't happen. It's just like, I just never see it happen in anybody else's. Right. Mhm. Yeah, that was a while ago that would happen. Did you ever end up talking to your beau again, your new guy, Cass? No, no, no. I know. I've seen it. I'm just saying, I'm talking about in other people's streams. I've never seen it. I've only seen it here. I've never actually seen it happen in anybody else. Not big deal. It's entirely within our power to determine how we think about and talk about our problems. They can be a nuisance or a stepping stone. See, I think you, Jax, actually shouldn't leave because I think you should listen to, I think we all need this about how we talk about our problems. They can be a nuisance or a stepping stone. They can hold us down or lift us up. In fact, Stoic philosophers believed that outside events hold no power over us at all. We create our own reality within our minds. Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. That could be true. How willing are you to consider that your life is the way it is, not because of the weight of your circumstances or situation, but rather the weight of self talk that pulls you down? That what you think you can and cannot do is influenced much more directly by subconscious response than by the reality of life itself. If you keep looking out there, outside of yourself, to your circumstances, and feverishly working to get out of them, you'll keep getting the same response. No power, no joy, no vitality. At best, it's a seesaw of success and disappointment, happiness and despair. Sometimes your circumstances just don't change. Sometimes they stagnate and crystallize. What if that thing you're working toward, that thing you are sure will make you happier, better, or more confident, doesn't happen? What then? Even if it does arrive someday, what happens to your life between now and that day? It's not that you have to find the answer. You are the answer. This book will require you to seek the answer, not out there, but inside of yourself. It's not that you have to find the answer. You are the answer. As I've said to my clients many, many times, people spend their lives waiting for the cavalry, all the while never realizing they are the cavalry. Your life is waiting on you to finally show up. Retrain your brain one word at a time. All this talk about our subconscious isn't just a bunch of psychobabble. Scientists have discovered that our thoughts can actually change the physical structure of our brain. This phenomenon, neuroplasticity, is revolutionizing the way we think about the human mind. As we go through life learning and experiencing new things, our brain is constantly arranging and rearranging the neural pathways that control how we think and behave. The best part is we direct our thoughts in a way that consciously modifies these pathways for ourselves. And the easiest way to shape those thoughts is through conscious, decisive self talk, the kind of talk that cuts through and takes control of your life. Just like we build habits by repeating an action until it becomes automatic, we can use strong, assertive language over time to create a lasting change in our lives. It's more than just happy thoughts. You're affecting your brain's very biology. And I did see a documentary about this one time where the guy said, even if you just change your ritual in the morning, like say you maybe take your shower, then have your coffee, then take your shower. It might break things up because your mind is so attuned to then getting to this point and then getting to this point and then finally getting to the point of, why bother? That if you throw something in their path, they might have to go a different direction. I don't know if anybody is enjoying this book. Is anybody enjoying this or finding it? Anybody? Anybody at all? I know there's 15 people, 16 people watching, and nobody's speaking, you know. And I want to say that I could look at it like, hey, I get online and I'll get like 16 people in the room and be lucky to have one or two of them people even want to talk to me. Thank you, Luna. Thank you. Because those one or two people are top-notch people who will call out and say, I'm listening. Thank you, coward. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. A lot of times my own brain wants to tell me nobody listens to me. What's it matter? But I'll speak it out and I'll ask, and here you guys are. And thank you. Thank you. We can determine our emotions by steering our thoughts. We can shape those thoughts by being conscious of and diligent about our words and the kind of language we engage in. Hi, Cass. Hi, Night Owl. Thank you, Howard. And that's, and a lot of times I have said it takes a conscious effort. Now, I just found this book yesterday. Okay. And somebody got it for me to read to you guys. And to me. To read to you guys and to me. Cause man, I'm searching too. I really am. I'm looking for a better way. I'm hoping. But conscious effort. We can shape those thoughts by being conscious. Okay, like the kind of language we engage in. A lot of this will come down to your basic tolerance of your current mindset and your willingness to change it. It all starts by making a conscious choice to talk in a way that's helpful rather than harmful. Like, I don't even think even to ourselves, I think to anybody, words of encouragement, positive reinforcement, positive encouragement really helps. By using the right kind of language and framing our problems in a more readily accessible light, we can quite literally change the way we see and interact with the world. All that stuff you've heard and read about creating your own reality, it's not only possible, but millions of people the world over are already doing it. And the best part is, they're not only creating it, they are in fact acting on it and living it. Hi, UFO bro. I do. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Remember, no matter how difficult, challenging, or pressing life's circumstances can be, how you fundamentally relate to and engage with those circumstances will have the biggest say in how they turn out. Again, the answer is inside you rather than outside you. And I'll tell you what, I'm guilty for looking outside of me for the answer. And feeling like life is unfair. And then again, there's days when I will remind myself, hey, I'm still alive. What a miracle I am. But it takes a constant effort. Remember, no matter how difficult, challenging, or pressing life circumstances can be. Oh, yeah, I already read that part. How we talk and think about and therefore perceive our surroundings is the very foundation for our reality. Like I could say, oh, everybody is always talking about me. Or I could say, hey, everybody's always talking about me. I must be something of, uh, uh, you know, matter of importance. Not, that's just an example. It's nothing like, but once again, I could be insulted that they're always talking about me or flattered by it, no matter what they're saying, right? I mean, isn't it even bad publicity is good publicity? I mean, it's hard to try to say, oh, yeah, well, that's good. Like, I want to hear that shit about you, But the more I would say it's bad, the more angry I would get, probably. And the more they would feel successful at making me angry, as opposed to saying, hey, I guess if they have nothing else to talk about and I'm the only one, hey, more power to them. That would probably, you know, not be the reaction they want. You know what I'm saying? It's a cheesy example, but um it's just an example, you know? Create the reality you want to live in by beginning the process of having the kind of conversations with yourself and others that actually shape that reality. A simple way that I reframe my own everyday problems is by relating to them as opportunities. They instantly become items in my life that I use to educate and expand myself. Like that saying, I never lose, I only win and learn. I become curious and engaged with them rather than my usual default, annoyed and frustrated self. I'll tell you, I am my worst critic. I really am. I am my own worst critic. But I can honestly tell you, I have never said the things to myself that these people say because what they say is not true. So compared to a reality of my life, what they say is stupid and unbelievable and just ridiculous. When I look at my life in reality, it's pretty great. It's not perfect, but I'm still here and breathing and amongst friends, and they can say what they want, but I'm in control of how I see things. And when you give yourself that much power to see things the way you choose to see them, you give yourself quite a bit of power. How does one create their own reality? By shifting your self talk from being a streaming narrative where you talk about yourself, others, and life, a dialogue of opinion and judgment, to being assertive, where you cast all of the default noise aside and assert your power right here and now. One of the first mistakes we make is when we talk about what we are going to do or who we will be. Don't even get me started on should or try. Subconsciously, we are already determining when that will be happening, and it's certainly not in this moment of time. One of the reasons why we so often abandon New Year's resolutions is because they usually use language to describe what we are going to do, i.e., later. All too often, they begin with what we're not going to do, which leaves us enthusiastic at the beginning, but out of juice when faced with the inevitable moment when reality takes a swing at your face. You'll be standing there alone in the giant hole in your life left open by that behavior you are apparently stopping. So it's like, you make a promise to yourself and you can't even keep it. So then you're thinking to yourself, oh shit, you know, those are the moments in life when your internal dialogue runs riot. What if you promised yourself to lose weight and are craving pizza? Or if you promised to save some money, but that jacket you just can't live without is suddenly on sale? How does one deal with those moments when the enthusiasm wanes and those old thought patterns reemerge? What are you going to do instead? Assertive self talk is when you stake a claim for this moment of time, right here and now. When you start to talk in terms of I am, or I embrace, or I accept, or I assert, all of which are powerful and commanding uses of language, rather than the narrative of I will or I'm going to. The physiological and psychological impact of using in the moment assertive language is not only powerful, it has a very real in the moment effect. So if we just live in the moment and do it now, Like, say it now and do it now. There's a massive difference between I am relentless and I will be relentless. One of those statements intervenes in this moment of your life. The other lives more like a description of what's to come rather than what's here. All of this will require you to try out assertive speaking in your daily life and catch yourself when you're using the more general narrative kind of speaking. Conscious effort to make a conscious effort. I think it's important to, not put other people down while beating yourself up inside. You know, I think it starts with us first, you know, like that song, The Man in the Mirror. Um, start with yourself. Tell yourself you're gonna be better and not expect it from other people. They have to be that way themselves. We can't make them be that way. We just can't. Yeah, it's stop our inner war within ourselves will make us feel better. Waiting for them to make us feel better. Man, if inside you're still telling yourself, yeah, but I can't do that, then no matter how much positive reinforcement give somebody, it's it's not going to work. It's about making a conscious effort. Stop blaming luck. Stop blaming other people. Stop pointing to outside influences or circumstances. You have the life you're willing to put up with. Think about it. What are the problems? Those heinous dark shadows currently spoiling the warmth and happiness of your otherwise blissful life. Thank you, Coward. Appreciate that. Do you hate your job? Are you in a bad relationship? Is there something wrong with your health? Fine. Get a new job, end the relationship, change your diet and exercise, or locate the kind of help you need. Seems simple, doesn't it? Even when it comes to the things you seemingly had no say in, like the death of a loved one or losing your business, you have a massive say in the ways you live your life in the aftermath of those events. If you're not willing to take the actions to change your situation, in other words, if you're willing to put up with your situation, then whether you like it or not, that is the life you have chosen. Before you think, but, or start to get your knickers in a twist, let me say one more thing. By defending your circumstances as they are right now, you are actually making a case for being where you are. Give it up. No buts. You can't afford them. They are excess baggage on a trip that requires you to travel light. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. The true measure of who you are won't be found in your circumstances, but rather in the way in which you respond to them. To start this new process, you must first stop another one. Stop blaming luck. Stop blaming people, other people. Stop pointing to outside influences or circumstances. Stop blaming your childhood or neighborhood. This approach is fundamental to everything that I talk about. And I have seen, I'm just going to use an example, Nitty will talk about his circumstances because of, how he was brought this, that, and the other thing. Okay. But I think he is a strong person and could definitely be whatever he wanted to be in life. I don't think circumstances, I say that now, I'll have to remind myself of that the next time I want to feel down about my own circumstances. It takes a constant conscious effort. You cannot, I repeat, cannot dwell in any blame game in your life. Even blaming yourself is completely useless. Of course, you'll face situations that you seemingly can't control. You may even face tragic circumstances like disability, disease, or the death of a loved one. Talk amongst yourself. I'm going to bed. Let's see, this is Savage Studios dying yet. I don't know who that is. Savage Studios. I really don't. Knowledge is power all the time. He does a prison channel. Is that one enjoying life or something like that? I don't know. YouTuber Savage Studios. I never heard of him. Well, he should relocate. I mean, when you've got two children, you should want to relocate. In my opinion, you should want to relocate when you know, have, you know, children in your care. There's always something you can do to impact those circumstances, even if you've had them for years and still can't see a way. But first, you must be willing to fully embrace my approach. You must first accept that while there are things that have happened in your life that you had no say in, you are 100% responsible for what you do with your life in the aftermath of those events. Always, every time, no excuses. Yeah, coward, but as a single mother who could have squatted in a bando with my daughter, I guess, but wanted her to have a good school, I opted to pay $1,000 a month rent to keep her in a good school system. Um, there's choices. You know what I'm saying? There's choices. Squatting isn't, you know, in my opinion, in my opinion, you know, um, you know, probably could have got a job helping build that bridge. You know, the dictionary says always, every time, no excuses. The dictionary describes willingness as the quality or state of being prepared, readiness. So is he prepared to move? I mean, you know, yeah, but being prepared, you know? In other words, willingness is a state in which we can engage with life and see a situation from a new perspective. It starts with you and ends with you. No one can make you willing, and you cannot move forward until you are willing to make the next move. Maybe he's not willing to make the next move. When you are finally willing, you can literally experience that willingness, that innate freedom that courses through your veins. And similarly, when you are not, the kind of primordial stuckness that halts and presses down on you like some invisible weight on your chest. Well, in my opinion, I would have already moved. Believe me, I hear you. I am willing, but every time you add the but to the end of that statement, you turn yourself into the victim, much like Luna said here. Uh, you know, if you turn yourself, if you're victimized yourself, then everyone will only see you as a victim. If you stand in your own way. In my many years as a coach and mentor, not me, but the person writing the book, I have heard as many complex life situations as there are, from the darkest of past to the weight and gravity of the present, or crippling fear of the future. I have heard them over and over and over again. You have to hear what I am saying in the way that it's intended. I'm not saying these things to inflame you. Well, maybe I am, but the intention is to inflame you to your own potential, to make you realize your own greatness, not to piss you off. Take the case, imagine for a moment that willingness is missing in your life. Not some wispy, sheepish willingness, but rather a bold willingness, the kind of willing state where you are ready for what's next and ready to act on it. Willingness to change, willingness to let go, willingness to accept, real, magical, inspired willingness. See, he shouldn't be thinking about himself right now. He should be thinking about the future of his children, in my opinion. Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. Hi, Tiffany H. Either you control your destiny or your destiny will control you. Life won't stop for your pauses and procrastinations. It won't stop for your confusion or fear. It will continue right along without you. Whether you play an active part or not, the show will go on. That's why one of the first personal assertions I teach is, I am willing. Before you can say that to yourself honestly, you must first ask yourself the question, am I willing? That question demands an answer. It can't just be left there in nothingness of the universe. Am I willing? People can change, but to be afraid of change. Paranormal deleted them by accident. And then left. I mean, to delete them by accident and then stay and continue to partake is different than making a mistake and then just leaving is kind of fucked up in my opinion. But it pulls for a response. Am I willing? Its power is irresistible. I cannot escape its press for the truth. Am I willing to go to the gym? Am I willing to work on that project I've been putting off? Am I willing to face my social fears? Am I willing to ask for a raise or quit this shitty job? In short, are you willing to stop living the life you have and start living the life you're after? It all begins with the emergence of willingness, that liquid, constantly expanding and contracting state where life springs and seeds, and all of it is within you at the flick of a linguistic switch. We often view ourselves as procrastinators or lazy or unmotivated, when in reality, we're simply unwilling. We put things off or avoid them completely because we tell ourselves we just don't want to do it or that we can't do it. Instead of viewing this behavior as a character flaw, let's create a sense of willingness where there is apparently none. A spark of potential, if you like. You are a master generator of this state of openness and potential. Once upon a time in your life, this state was easy to access, enlivened by the vigor of youth or the curiosity of childhood. Somehow, over the years, we lost touch with this magical state. Machiavelli once said, Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Consider that for a second. I can tell you that I'm stronger than it. Just saying. He does seem to, instead of paying rent, choose not to, for a better environment to raise children. Consider that for a second. It does not matter what you're facing in life, which obstacle you're trying to overcome. If you are willingness to generate that state of willingness, that's a doorway to making the effort, taking the steps, dealing with the setbacks, and ultimately creating the progress and change in your life that you're seeking. That's why such a simple statement as "I am willing" is so profound. You become enlivened and empowered by its promise, open to its allure. I ask again, are you willing? Exactly. It's a choice. It's a choice. Well, you know, I just believe that waiting, I mean, yeah, let's just be, you know, for real. We all know that when we decided to, when it comes to people we love, a lot of times we're doing what's best, for, I just have to disagree with you there. Uh, when single mothers can do it and work and deal with daycare and things like that, then people can do that. But yeah, it takes every day. I mean, you have to work on it every day. Maybe you are, in fact, unwilling. In many cases, that may actually be the best answer you can give. Sometimes declaring your unwillingness can be just as powerful as declaring willingness. Are you willing to live with a body that's unhealthy? No. Are you willing to continue living paycheck to paycheck? No. Are you willing to put up with unworkable, unsustainable relationships? No. I am unwilling. Unwillingness ignites resolve and determination. It provides an access to taking a robust and urgent approach to your situation. When you are unwilling, it often represents a line in the sand where you are no longer willing to go back the way you came. Only when you're unwilling to continue just simply existing, feeling unsatisfied and unfulfilled, will you make the effort necessary to make a change. Only when you're unwilling to put up with the bullshit any longer will you grab your shovel and start digging. Exactly. Inner self help. At times, there is no greater motivation to change than the unwillingness to do this any longer. Which one works for you in your life currently? I am willing or I am unwilling? Can you see how being unwilling can potentially be just as powerful as being willing, right? Because of how you look at it. Maybe you're not unwilling to make things better for yourself. You're unwilling to accept the bullshit. of not making things better. Depending on the circumstance, some of us feel more empowered by the assertion, by the assertion, I am willing, while for others, declaring I am unwilling gives them strength and resolve. You might find yourself motivated by both equally, depending on the situation. Whichever category you fall into, you can not only shift the personal assertion, you can reframe the way you approach your problems. For example, are you willing to find a new job? Yes, I am willing. Are you willing to stay in a job you hate? No, I am unwilling. Both assertions can be just as effective. It's up to you to determine which one fits your persona and situation. Which one does it for you? I like this book. The book is called Unfuck Yourself. And right, it ebbs and flows. hmm It's called Unfuck Yourself. And thank you, Tiffany. There's another way for your unwillingness to free you from the hamster wheel, because sometimes it doesn't matter what you ask yourself or how many times you said it. You just can't muster the willingness long enough to change anything. You might you might well be one of life's great starters, but not finishers. At the end of the all, you might have to face the cold reality that you have been all too willing to remain the same. You have been unwilling to fundamentally change your life and lose that weight for good. That somewhere in there you are okay with living this way. I don't know. I know. I really don't. I mean, come on. You must be, or you would have changed it by now. At some level, you must have some tolerance for having your life turn out like this. That's actually okay. Getting straight with yourself about having made the decision to stay where you are can be just as powerful as the decision to move. Why? Because sometimes recognizing that you willingly put yourself in a place where you are unhappy is often all that's required to make an opening for real and lasting change. This has to be done without blaming yourself and turning yourself into a victim of some internal blip or character flaw. That's very important. You cannot continue to beat yourself up inside. The way you describe your situation is how you see it. The words you use to describe yourself and your situation are very powerful. In the moment you realize that you have cognitively and systematically put yourself here, guess what? That's right. You can cognitively and systematically get yourself out. This is also the foundation of granting yourself the grace of acceptance, of embracing what has been, and daring yourself to reach for an unimaginable future. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. By stating and facing your unwillingness to change, you can take stock of yourself and your life and begin to create a sliver of light for you, at least to start. The secret is, once you've separated the task of whatever it is you're dealing with from the drama of the past, you may find yourself more open to tackling it, meaning the here and now. You'll be able to get past the emotional swirl and straight to the heart of the issue itself. If you guys like this book, I will continue it. I appreciate you guys listening and with such earnest. I really do. I appreciate it because it's for me too. It's for all of us. I want change within myself. I want to see things more surmountable. Like I want to be able to achieve things that oftentimes I find myself telling myself I can't do. I stand in my own way more often than not, and I don't want to do that anymore. And that's why I keep talking. I keep reading and I keep trying to find out more about me, about life, about my friends. I love you guys. I do. I'm a better person because of you guys. So don't ever like underestimate your worth because you mean the world to me. You really do. And I will finish this book for you guys. If you guys like it, I will continue to read it. Not right now. It is because it's inside of us. We just have to start encouraging ourselves as much as we would encourage others. Kind words, man, are priceless. Thank you, Coward. I appreciate that. Kind words are priceless, even to ourselves. Remind yourself that and don't listen to the naysayers. I know it is human emotion for anger and things like that. It's also hard, but it does take a constant, conscious effort. And I'm willing to be here for you guys if you're willing to be here for me. So, steel sharpens steel. I am going to read it in segments, Cal. That's why I'm going to say goodnight to you guys now. But peace, love, and tacos. And thank you so much for being here. UFO Bro, Coward, Night Owl, Luna, Paranormal Underworld. I hope Luna's still here. Night, Cass, Tiffany H, Tina Elaine was here earlier. Thank you so much, you guys, for finding this interesting because I find it interesting and I wanted to share it with you guys. Peace, love, and tacos. Steel sharpens steel. And united we stand and divided we fall. But definitely, definitely, definitely stand next to yourself first. Be the person you admire. Peace, love, and tacos.